It's 3 o'clock. I'm going to call the Board of Directors to order. It's Thursday, March 7th, 3 o'clock. So let's put wheels on this vehicle, and there may be some mistakes in operating this bus for the first meeting, so just bear with me if you don't mind. Rachel, can you call roll, please?
Yes, Councilmember Kim Daughtry.
Present.
Mayor Frizzell.
Present.
Mayor Marine.
On the bus.
Thank you. Councilmember Mead. Chair Merrill.
I'm here, thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Nearing.
Here, thanks.
Thank you. Labor Representative Norton.
Here, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Peterson. Mayor Roberts.
I'm here, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Schweddy. Thank you. Chair, we do have a quorum of board members. For our board alternates, we have Councilmember Gallagher in the room, and online I see Councilmember Payne as well as Councilmember Fulcher. And that concludes roll.
Okay, public comment. I didn't see that anyone had signed up, but this is your time. Each speaker has 3 minutes to provide comments, and in room, the chair will call up anyone who's present that signed up.
No.
Okay, do we have anyone online who would like to speak? Nope. Seeing none, we'll move on. Public comment is closed. And next we have some presentations, some awards to be given by the CEO and by the former chair. Thank you. I'll go around the podium. Is this one working?
Can you hear me? Are we working? There we go. Working now? Awesome. Thank you. Well, it's great to see everybody here today. This is a special meeting because this is the time of year, every year, that Community Transit recognizes employees who exemplify our mission, vision, values in their daily work and their outstanding contributions to our delivery of service and projects across the region. In February, at our all-staff meetings, we held two, one here, as we do every month, and then a second one over at the new Hardison Campus Service and Operations Center. We honored all of our recipients in front of the gathering of all of our employees in both locations. It's the first time we had an opportunity to bring everybody together and recognize our employees that way, and it was super cool. So what we're going to do today is just run through a quick list to show you our honorees, the work they do. We'll see a slideshow as I tick through the names. You'll see a picture and a quote from one of their coworkers or supervisors about their contributions to our service and our operation. And then as we get through this at the end, we'll have a special recognition for our chair of the board award recipient, Nick Ludington, who's with us here today, and our CEO award recipient, Maria Loaiza, who unfortunately could not be with us today, but we'll celebrate nonetheless. So we'll start through this. We began over at the Hardison campus with our annual Supervisors Awards. So each year, the supervisors local, led by Stuart Hogue this year, recognize a supervisor, a member of their unit, and a coach operator who they view exemplify the high standards of service and contributions to the business that they expect. And this year's Supervisor of the Year was Matt Sturgis. Matt's shown here with me and Roland, and there's a quote from Stuart. In addition, well, so he's the guy you want in the room when something bad happens, because he is going to know what to do and rise to the occasion every time. The coach operator that the supervisors chose to recognize was Melody Moore. And here's Melody. She is the golden coach operator, quiet, reliable, on time, rarely calls in. Melody's also eager to assist new coach operators as they come on board. So thank you to the supervisors unit for recognizing their own and their colleagues among the coach operators. Next, the operations group recognized the transportation maintenance and facilities employees of the year. And these are awards given out within the operations group with Roland and Mike Suela and Jim Williams and Claude Jurdy in their units. So for the Transportation Employee of the Year, it was Andrew Kirkaldy, a coach operator, and he's shown here with a statement from Jim about his attentiveness and his quick thinking. Our Maintenance Employee of the Year, Juan Reyes, a journey mechanic, shown here. He was not super excited about being recognized in front of 200 people, as you can see from the photo, but he's made amazing contributions to the shop with his attitude and his enthusiasm. And then Facilities, Vin Nguyen, Facilities Tech 2, shown here with Claude. His consistent positivity, thoughtfulness, problem solving, very key to successful performance within the facilities group. They do an amazing job maintaining all of our physical assets in the field, and they're often called upon to solve emergent problems. And they're our go-to folks when things get interesting in the field. So thank you to Roland and his team for recognizing the Operations Employees of the Year. For our Employee Excellence Awards, we presented 12 awards overall, so I'll go through those now. First was Eric Adams, a sales and distribution specialist in the customer care unit. He's been holding down the fort at the temporary ride store at Ash Way, and he's brought a wealth of knowledge and enthusiasm and passion to the work. He really cares about our customers. He's also on the side an amateur drone operator, so if you ever need that service, he's available. Joel Church next in the parts division. Is somebody who goes out of his way to make sure the parts are available to fix the buses. And that is a very complicated task, especially in a supply chain crisis. And our parts group has done a phenomenal job over the past 3 years, making sure that our mechanics and our vehicle service workers have the material they need to keep the fleet on the road. Next, Peggy Clever Fagan, Service Ambassador. And she's an amazing ambassador. She is out there every day in the Swift network, and she just takes great pleasure in the work she does. She has a particular affinity for youth and helping new riders navigate the system. So she's been really instrumental in helping kids figure out how to use the system as they started to realize that they can ride for free. Next is Jeff Davis, who's the maintenance technical lead. Jeff is a stalwart in our vehicle maintenance group. He's got deep knowledge, great leader, great temperament, invaluable in keeping our fleet on the road and leading folks within the shop. And then next we have Roman Doskoczynski, a coach operator. Roman, just such a wonderful guy. He was so honored, so humbled to be recognized in front of his peers. He sent the nicest note after the ceremony about how much this recognition meant to him. But really, he just brings a positive outlook every day. He's an amazing representative for CT out in the field, and we're really lucky to have him. Next, Andrea England, IT project manager. So IT is underneath everything this organization does, whether it's here at the office or out in the field or in the shop or in the facility shop. We can't run without technology supporting the things that we do. And she's been described as a rock star, a tenacious organizer, a detailed arranger, a team player, the kind of person you have to have around when you're so dependent on technology systems. Next up, Budget Analyst 2, Sarah Gillis. Sarah's an amazing contributor. She's a senior budget analyst. She's a problem solver. She works hard. She's dedicated. She sees issues before they become big issues and gets in front of them. She's leading an effort with the budget team this year to bring some changes and reforms to how we develop our budgets. And so we're very excited to have her on the team. Next, Tammy Hovland, senior recruiter. I think, can I have a show of hands for everybody who knows we've had staffing issues and been in a tight labor market over the past couple of years. She's been one of those key driving forces behind the scenes, making sure that we are recruiting, retaining, and getting to where we need to be to meet our service commitments here this March at our upcoming service change and again in the fall. when we expand service and restructure our network. So it takes a village to provide the resources to deliver the service, and she's a key contributor in that group. Let's see, next, Britton Kavanaugh. Britton is a capital project manager and relatively new in the job, and she's just made a huge impact in a relatively short time. She's always looking for opportunity to provide increased value and support. She's creative, she's tenacious, she's a great team worker. She goes out of above and beyond to contribute to the organization in ways outside her immediate job. She's been a huge contributor, for example, to our holiday gift giving drives, our Giving Tree Drive last year. So anyway, she's somebody who's grown and blossomed here at Community Transit, and we're really lucky to have her. Next up is Maurice O'Neill, Transportation Supervisor. Maurice he's a legend. You know, he's been here a long time. He's one of the strongest supervisors we have. He's consistently out there promoting an inclusive environment, fostering respect and understanding amongst all of his colleagues, bringing people together, really with an emphasis on safety and teamwork. Just a real strong, stalwart leader within the supervisor ranks. Again, we're lucky to have him. David Miller, I'm sorry, I almost skipped over Quentin Middleton. Quentin is a coach operator, and he's occupied a really special niche here the last year or so, working to help onboard new coach operators. When we began aggressively recruiting, we discovered we were seeing a glut in the training pipeline, and we were losing some people to turnover and attrition at the front end of our process. So we started a pre-training academy to help get folks in the door and start to get them oriented to how they get their permit to operate and participate in the training program and get ready to get their CDL. And Quentin's been critical in helping onboard those people at that early phase of training. And he's made a big difference as well in the recruiting of our coach operator staff. Lucky to have him. Now we have David Miller. David has been instrumental. I mentioned at the last board meeting that we made a lot of progress with Snohomish County Public Health on our bus cleaning protocol in response to the UW study. David's been an instrumental contributor to that work. And as I'll report later in my CEO report, we did get formal county sign off on our plan just last week. Chelsea Ungaro, our program manager for community engagement. Chelsea is a powerhouse. She joined Community Transit and immediately made a positive impact to how we engage our community. She's passionate about making sure that the public has a voice in what we do. And she's made major changes to how we engage the public in all of our different planning processes. We talk to the public constantly, whether we're planning service or new capital projects or talking about fare policy, a long-range plan. All of those are public conversations, and she's out front making sure we're thinking differently and comprehensively about how we engage folks. She was called upon to go to Olympia this past session to testify in front of the House and Senate Transportation Committees on a panel about how transit agencies engage the public. And it was in the context of the governance reform debate that was going on at the time. So she's been a great voice for community transit in multiple forums. And last, Ralph Pottereff, Facilities Maintenance Tech 2. Ralph, another tenacious contributor. He is a very gifted craftsman. He is the person who takes care of bus shelters, and he makes sure that our bus shelters are right. And he's got a gift for that and a passion for it. And we're in the process right now of replacing the bus shelters out there in the field. And he's the one on point, making sure that our hardware out in the field looks good and works for our customers. So again, lucky to have Ralph. So that's a lot. We can now switch gears and talk about our CEO and board chair awards, as is our practice. We've invited Nick to be here today, so I'll invite former Chair Schweddy to come up and talk a little bit about Nick, as this award is honoring his contributions last year while Chair Schweddy was on watch.
This is from tall to short. How do I do that?
That okay?
I think so. Is it on? Okay, that helps. Is it working? Is anyone here? Okay, okay. Thank you, Rick. On behalf of the Community Transit Board of Directors, I'm pleased to present the 2023 Board Chairs Award to Nick Ludington. Nick, thanks for joining us here at the podium. I'm going to be reading this, so
Okay, all
I
right.
may not be looking totally at
that's
your
okay.
face all the time. Every year, the board chair nominates the recipient of the Board Chair Award, and I am extremely honored to present the 2023 award to Nick. Nick joined Community Transit in September 2011 as a service ambassador and was recently promoted to the Customer Care Assistant Manager in the Customer Experience Department. Nick has many accomplishments, which makes it hard to pick just a few to share, but here is an example. Nick implemented new customer care training for the call center, which was designated to define great customer service and bring all the agents to the same excellent level of service. When he was in the role as the call center lead and ATU shop steward, he worked with the assistant manager to develop a call scoring system that will be used to help our agents give customers the best possible service. He did all of this on top of his usual duties. His dedication to community transit does not go unnoticed, and he is an excellent resource for internal and external customers. He is valued by management and other leads in customer care for his thoughtful conversation. Nick amplifies community transit core values of initiative, mutual respect, service-focused, and teamwork. Here are a few things Nick's peers had to say about him. Thank you for partnering with my team to identify ways to improve the customer experience on our website. You are a trusted voice for the customer, and you have helped us qualify much of the feedback we are receiving. I appreciate your self-focused mindset and partnership in improving the digital experience. Another of his fellow employees, Nick is relentless in ensuring we deliver a fantastic customer experience. And if we fall short, he is equally relentless in finding out why and how to best bring forth a solution that can work for the customer. He truly has a passion to help each customer as an individual. And last, I will just add that one of the reasons I am so very proud of community transit is the quality employees like Nick who go out of their way to provide excellent service to customers and help build a positive workplace. Nick, on behalf of Community Transit Board of Directors, thank you for your dedication to community transit and for putting our customers first. Okay,
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nick. You'll see there's a loud fan response out there. Some of Nick's team members and colleagues are there in the crowd to help him celebrate today. And it's just great to have you all here. Last but not least, I want to say a few words about Maria Loaiza. She is our CEO award winner. She couldn't be here today, but I want to take a couple of minutes to recognize her and tell you a little bit about her. She was hired in August of 2016, so she's been here a little over 7 years. And she's one of the very first coach operators I met when I started here 3 years ago. I got on a bus down at Aurora Village one morning on my way to work, and we had a great encounter. And I told that story to the employees, and I won't take that time today, but it's safe to say that they got a good laugh at my expense based on that experience. When thinking about Maria, she's really reliable, consistent, present, personable employee behind the wheel. She's very service focused. She's gone beyond the call of duty to ensure that the riders on her coach are safe. And that's really her calling card. She constantly surveys what's going on in the back of her coach. She pays attention to who's riding, to what they're experiencing. And there have been several times when her situational awareness has protected potentially vulnerable riders from harm out on the road. In one example, she utilized dispatch to get law enforcement during an event report to ensure safe ridership for a youth on her coach. And she brings that vigilance every day. She's received numerous commendations from customers based on their reports of her support in the field during their trips. She exemplifies our core values of accountability, initiative, and service focused, and is just a role model for everybody who is operating coaches out there in the field. So a well-deserved recipient for the 2023 CEO Award. I wish she was here so you could all meet her, but you'll probably see her at the employee appreciation event or maybe out there on the road. So that concludes our awards recognition. So I want to congratulate again all our awardees and thank the board for your support of the employees.
Okay, moving on to the Chief Executive Officer's report. This is Chief Executive Day.
I guess it is.
You're up.
Have you heard enough yet? Okay. I will try to be brief. It's been a busy start to the year. I've been engaged externally in a lot of travel around the county and the region and to Olympia. And I just want to give you a brief touch on the rounds I've been making. First of all, I've been meeting one-on-one with each of you. So thank you all for making time to talk about the organization and what's going on. I appreciate that. It's a time commitment and a labor of love, and I value those opportunities extremely. I had an opportunity also to meet with our new board alternate, Councilmember Fulcher, who's with us today, over in Monroe the other day, and we had a great meeting and a great conversation. And I know she's going to be an active and awesome participant here with us in our work. Also met recently with the new mayor of Arlington, Mayor Vanny, and shared that with Councilmember Schweddy. We talked about the Gold Line and we talked about innovative services. I know we're going to have a positive relationship, and I'm planning to meet next week with the new mayor of Edmonds, Mayor Rosen. Also hosted here, the new executive director of the Transportation Choices Coalition, Kurt Hovencutter, and attended the APTA CEO seminar back in the East Coast last month. More recently, I've met several times with Sound Transit's interim CEO, Jeron Sparman. And I want to repeat again that we've gotten off to a good start with a spirit of collaboration to work on getting ready for the Linwood Link activation later this year and making sure we've got a good plan for integrating our two networks. We had a joint meeting just the week before last with my team, Melissa, Roland, and Molly, along with the leadership teams from King County Metro and Sound Transit to go through that work. And I believe Sound Transit's Ridership Experience Committee met today to consider the service plan that we have been working on the last couple of months. So that's all good. Sound Transit announced they're opening their East Side starter line on April 27th. That's the portion of the 2 line that operates within the East Side, serving 8 stations between South Bellevue and Redmond. So I'm planning to attend that event, probably have a robust delegation of CT employees there to put eyes on that operation. I know Sound Transit's encouraging others to join to celebrate that event. The city of Bellevue has some similarities to Linwood, with a significant transit center with a large active bus loop immediately adjacent to the station. So if you're interested in seeing what that operation could look like in Linwood, it's an opportunity to get a preview. We are moving into public outreach to share the findings of the consolidation study on the Everett Transit Community Transit consolidation work. So we briefed the board here and the city council last month, and now we're moving into the stakeholder briefings that we talked about at that time. So we'll keep you posted on that.
Legislative report at the federal level, FTA has released its low-no funding opportunity that we've talked about just last month. So we are now actively engaged in developing our grant application to support our zero emission transition program. We'll be submitting that grant application in April. We're working with our House and Senate delegation as well on community-directed spending opportunities. So we're trying to align some synergy between our requests for appropriations with our delegation and our grant strategy with FTA. Today, I think everybody is aware, is the last day of the legislative session in Olympia. We've got preliminary reports that the funding, the budget agreed to by the House and Senate on a bipartisan basis preserves our funding for the SWIFT expansion program with earmarks for the green, gold, and silver lines out over the course of the Move Ahead Washington period. And that those funds accrue over the next 6 years, beginning next year. So we have been sending our appreciation to Senator Elias and our delegation members and Governor Inslee. We expect him to sign that budget. Chairman Fye from Tacoma was also instrumental in that, and he's been very supportive of our funding requests over the course of the short session. The Climate Commitment Act repeal and the other initiatives did not receive hearings or legislative treatment, so they're all headed to the voters on the November ballot. So we and the other transit agencies will be analyzing that initiative for potential impacts, and we'll share that information with the board in due course. We'll also arrange a more full report on the results of the legislative session from our lobbyist, DeVore Jurassic, at our next meeting. Quick touch on projects. Orange Line, 23 days away. But who's counting, Melissa? The community transit staff really is engaged in a symphony right now. There's work going on in every department to help us get ready. Construction is continuing at a brisk pace with systems installation, customer amenities. The last wave of work is around installing ticket vending machines, digital signage, and other customer amenities. We do have one station, the Mill Creek Boulevard and 164th station, that will not be operational immediately, but we do have an adjacent local stop that we'll be able to use for a couple of weeks until that comes online. And that had to do with some stormwater and civil work that occurred some months ago that just cost us a little bit of schedule. But we will be ready on the other, everywhere else throughout the corridor. The McCollum Park and Ride Transit Center is looking beautiful, as is Edmonds College. Our communications and marketing group is engaged in promoting the block party that we're planning to have hosted by Edmonds College. On March 30th, they've sent out mailing and invitations to 41,000 households along the Orange Line corridor to promote that event. And we expect a full participation by the Edmonds College board and staff. And so if you haven't RSVP'd for that yet, please let Rachel know if you plan to attend. We just wrapped up another coach operator bid process where the coach operators bid their shifts for the March service change. And thanks to our strong staffing efforts that I referred to earlier, we are fully staffed for the March service change and looking good for the fall changes as well. We're grateful as always to the board for your support for our robust recruiting strategy over the past year and a half. It's really paid a lot of dividends. On innovative services, the Innovative Services staff will be out meeting with the advisory groups, the working groups in the 3 cities, Arlington, Darrington, and Lake Stevens, over the next few weeks to work through and define recommendations for the next set of pilot projects. We'll share the results from community surveys and show potential service options and bring recommendations through those groups and back here to the Strategic Alignment Committee in April and here at the board in May. So we're looking for a nod to go forward with the next 3 pilots with a goal of launching in the 4th quarter of this year. As I mentioned during the award ceremony, we did get formal sign-off from Snohomish County Public Health Department on our bus cleaning and remediation program. I want to acknowledge Roland and his team, Don, Ariel, Mike Suela, David, as I said, a whole group effort across vehicle maintenance to get that work done. And our fleet is looking sparkling these days. So we're happy that we're able to respond. And last but not least, fun note, I'm happy to report breaking news. We just procured our new 40-foot battery electric bus. It arrived on site yesterday. And at the Hardison campus, and I think there might be a picture that Roland shared with us yesterday afternoon. There you go. So you can see where the engine is supposed to be. I think those are batteries, converters. So we are starting the intake process for the new vehicle. That'll take some time. We expect to start putting it through its paces and see it out on the road maybe next month. It's also going to be wrapped, so it's got community transit livery right now, but it'll have a little special flair once the marketing folks get done with it. So,
Is it really going to start in Mukilteo?
well, did you notice that?
Of course I noticed that.
I think it's a happy coincidence. I don't know, but I'm happy to give credit where credit is due. Mr. Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Thank you. Is that bus going to be at the Orange Line launch for demo?
If it's ready, we'll get it over there. So I've told the staff, if they can do it without, breaking anything, it's a nice to have. We're gonna have our hybrid BRT coaches deployed and, the Orange Line is the star of the day. But if the BEB is ready, we'll have it over there as well.
Thank you. The executive committee report. The executive committee met on February 15th. Councilmember Schweddy, Mayor Roberts, Mayor Frizzell, and I attended that. CEO report was provided at that time, and board resolution 02-20-24 amendment to the bylaws was reviewed by the committee and was forwarded to today's action committee. So that is coming up. We discussed the upcoming APTA conference opportunities for the board members and want to make sure that everybody is aware of those. Transit Board Member Seminar, July 13th, 16th in San Jose, California. The Transform and Expo is September 29th and October 2nd in Anaheim. There's no reason not to go this year. It's much easier to get to both of those in Birmingham. Registration is now open for the July seminar. So if you are interested in attending, please let Rachel know. And we budgeted for 2 board members to attend that. Finance, Performance and Oversight Committee, Mayor Roberts.
Yes, thank you. The Finance, Performance and Oversight Committee met on Thursday, February 15th, 2024 in a Zoom format. Board members, Councilmember Jared Mead, Mayor John Naring, Councilmember Jan Sweaty, and I attended. In terms of consent items for today, the committee reviewed and recommended one item to the consent agenda. Approval of the January 2024 monthly expenditures and payroll vouchers will be items 7B through F on the consent agenda. In terms of reports, first of all, we had the sales tax report for January 2024 unaudited. In January 2024, Community Transit collected approximately $16.3 million in sales tax revenue, approximately $20,000 more than budgeted, and a copy of this report is included in your packet. Diesel fuel update report for January 2024. The average cost year to date through January 2024 was $3.03 per gallon, while the average cost per gallon budgeted for 2023 was $4.25 a gallon. This resulted in a favorable variance of $1.22 per gallon year to date through January. Other business, Rick Ilgenfritz, Chief Executive Officer, provided a brief update regarding the East Link starter line. The light rail trains will roll through the east side beginning April 27th. The next Finance, Performance and Oversight Committee meeting is scheduled for 2 p.m. Thursday, March 21st, 2024 via Zoom. And that concludes my report, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Roberts. The Strategic Alignment Capital Development Committee with Mayor Frizzell.
Yes, the Strategic Alignment and Capital Development Committee meeting was held remotely over Zoom on February 21st at 2 o'clock. The meeting was attended by Chair Mayor Frizzell, Chair Member Daughtry, Mayor Marine, Councilmember Peterson, and Lance Labor Representative Lance Norton. The committee reviewed and forwarded 2 action items to today's agenda. Number 1 was an award, sole source number 2024-11, turn-by-turn navigation. Number 2 award was ITB number 2024-003, Swift BRT station retrofits and Blue Line expansion. The committee received one informational update regarding the Swift Green Line extension status, and the next meeting for the Strategic Alignment and Capital Development Committee is scheduled for Wednesday, March 20th at 2 o'clock.
Thank you, Mayor Frizell. Moving on to the consent agenda, are there any changes or modifications for the minutes of the February 1st, 2024 meeting? Seeing none, could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move approval.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So moved. So approved. Thank you. Action items. Today we have 3 action items. First is the award sole source contract number 2024-11, turn-by-turn navigation, and Jim Williams.
Mr. Chair. All right, members of the board, Rick, thanks for having me. Great afternoon. I'm excited to be here today to talk through turn by turn. Before I dive into the presentation, I wanted to extend my thanks to Thomas Gilbert, Manager of Transportation, and Keisha McDew, our Program Manager in the audience, for the work they've done to gather this information so far. As mentioned, on the 21st of February, they introduced turn by turn navigation system to the Strategic Alignment and Capital Development Committee. And here we are. Also, one more thanks to fellow Director G. Tapia for helping me get ready to this point. And with that, next slide. Currently, our coach operators rely on a list of turns and paper maps to navigate their routes. Operators are often referring to these throughout their routes while stopped at transit centers, layovers, traffic lights, and other areas to avoid going off their routes later on. They're doing this because they need to know which turn to make well in advance of approaching the intersections on their route. Using a list of turns or paper maps can present a variety of challenges to our coach operators. Additional stress is added when trying to get a glance at a paper map or a list of turns during hours of limited daylight and when it's raining. So additional stress is added, being familiar when you have to be familiar with all the routes. It can be a challenge not only for our newer operators who are still learning all the routes and not as familiar with our public transit network, but also for our more tenured operators, because we have 4 bids a year, they might pick a different piece of work. Even though those coach operators prepare well in advance of their routes of going into service, there's still a chance they miss a turn and go off route. So over the past 3 years, we've had an average of 13 off routes a month. While this is a small percentage of our total service, going off the route causes some delays and could lead to missed customers. Bottom line is navigating with paper maps or list of turns can be incredibly challenging. That being the case, we've got some great news. There's a high-tech solution that can better prepare our operators to navigate these routes and address the challenges that I've mentioned. Next slide, please. Actually, you gave me thank you. Turn-by-turn navigation is that high-tech solution. It's a navigational tool that offers clear direction to operators while in service. This eliminates the need for paper maps, thus reducing the risk of driving off route. Not only is it easy to use, but this product can also improve our on-time performance and our customer service by ensuring operators stay on those routes. It can be operated at the single touch, and the coach operators can receive those turn-by-turn instructions with directional arrows for the upcoming turns on their routes. This tool can also notify them of the upcoming bus stops. This system would enhance our coach operators' experience by helping them to guide through their route, allowing them to focus more on the road rather than struggling to try and read a list of turns or a paper map. You can see on the image provided the icon of the coach and the route that's highlighted through our network. Next slide. This is a picture of the coach operator's cockpit. This yellow arrow represents the mobile data terminal, which is the hardware we're looking to upgrade. As I mentioned, new and experienced operators have recognized the benefits of having something easy and simple to use at the touch of their finger. One of our recent graduates is a coach operator that came from TriMet. He used turn by turn there and works the extra board here. And he's pulled our managers aside and recommended this system without knowing we're already pursuing it. So I'm here today to request approval to secure funding. The next slide. For this turn-by-turn navigation system, the negotiated price totals $262,000, which includes tax. With a 20% contingency, it brings the not to exceed amount to $314,400, well within the $360,000 independent government cost estimate. This is a sole source agreement with Innovations in Transportation, also known as INIT, as they provide the proprietary computer-aided dispatch automated vehicle location hardware and software necessary for the navigation system. And that's all I have. I want to thank you guys for your time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Williams. Any questions for Mr. Williams?
Yes, I do have a question.
You have to, I want to.
So
Sure.
is this active enough to where it will show a coach operator that there may be something blocking the road, like an accident or something like that? in
I
real
think that's a
time- in real
great
time?
question. I'm not sure really, we were just highlighting the route, but the real-time data isn't something that was included in our, are we able to do that? I'm gonna look at.
Was everybody able to hear? Dee? Oh, could you?
Okay, it wasn't included in the original. If you want to come up, I can reiterate.
We did not include, sorry, Jim. We did not include traffic and displaying traffic in our original scoping within it as we looked at buying the base product for turn-by-turn navigation. We're looking to implement it as soon as possible, which is another part of trying to get to our September service change where routes will significantly change. So this is really important that we meet the deadline. So we tried to keep the scope minimal. But we can add that as part of our contingency. I don't see why that wouldn't be possible. It's a data feed from, available APIs.
Well, unlike my esteemed colleague here, I've never driven a bus, which is probably a good thing. I'm not really sure that my question really has anything, any value, to tell you the truth, now that I'm thinking about it, because if there's a major accident, I think radio gets a call and says, hey, I'm
That's
backed
correct.
up, I need to be rerouted or whatever. And I don't think that a bus operator would be trying to take that on themselves to reroute. Is that that not correct?
Yeah, our dispatch center works with our field supervisors to reroute if we need to for those types of service disruptions.
So I'm not sure that's value added to the system then.
It is a great ask, and it's been part of other navigational systems that I've used. So I think the question makes perfect sense, and thank you. We welcome it.
Had a question.
Mayor Roberts?
So just kind of a follow-up, Jim, to that. So would it show traffic patterns? I mean, if there was, like if something was changing in the traffic patterns, not necessarily rerouting, but
It may be possible. It wasn't included in our
Wasn't
original
included,
scope. We
yeah,
were just
yeah.
looking to replace the paper lists of turns and paper maps.
Are they using navigation now at all, or are we just looking, not really,
The mobile data, if you want to go back to the last slide with the yellow arrow, that includes a list of turns. It does not have an area,
Oh,
an
doesn't show
icon of a
what-
coach on a map.
And it's showing the vehicle just like any other navigation in real time where they're at, I would think.
Turn by turn
Turn by
navigation
turn,
will.
we will.
Yes.
Just one comment, if you've ever seen a bus get off the route, I'm assuming it's not the normal driver. It's someone that's filling in and doesn't know Stanwood from Arlington, whatever. We had someone one of the drivers that got off when we had moved some things around and they actually called 911. So I welcome this product. I think it'd be a great addition. Thank you.
Thank you. It does happen. So even with the most experienced operators.
Yeah, and Jim, thank you. And I know I was surprised in the committee that this wasn't already being used. And we would just assume, oh my God, this is standard on a bus. I can't imagine how troubling that would be for a passenger to see the bus driver with a fold-out map while they're driving. I hope that doesn't happen a lot. That would be a little unnerving.
They're 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, so they hide it well. But
Wow. Any other questions? Anybody online have a question?
That's a motion.
Okay, you ready for a motion?
Yeah, but we're not the strategic alignment.
Yeah. Not seeing any more. Could I have a motion, please?
Yeah, I will move
No.
no, that's not it at all. I will move the Board of Directors authorize the CEO to negotiate and award sole source contract number 2024-11, turn-by-turn navigation to Init for a not to exceed amount of $314,400.
Second.
Any further discussion?
No, just to say, I'd agree with Joe. I mean, that we're not using this already. I mean, so I think this is a great buy.
I would concur with that.
Yeah.
Okay, seeing no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you very much,
thank you.
Mr. Williams.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, next up is to award the ITB number 2024-003 Swift BRT station retrofits and Blue Line expansion. Mr. Silvera.
Good afternoon. Thank you guys for having me here today. I'm been here a couple times over the past couple months, and today is sort of the culmination of a lot of those items that have been coming to you for. We've been working on procuring hardware equipment for the retrofits of the Blue Line and the Green Line Swift lines, and we've also been finishing up our design work and ultimately are now at this point for installation and construction of the retrofits, as well as the extension of the Swift Blue Line that's scheduled to open when Link Light Rail opens in Linwood, hopefully in August. And so what we've done is we've combined the two contracts, the extension and the retrofits, into one package. And so that's what we're here today for, is this award to seek installation of the retrofit improvements, as well as the extension improvements that are necessary to allow us to extend the Swift Blue Line to the Linwood Light Rail Station, or sorry, not Linwood, the Shoreline North 185th Light Rail Station in the late summer. So we had 3 vendors that ultimately bid, our general contractors that bid on this contract, and the low bid went to CA Carey at $3,228,000, $3,228,342. And as you can see from the 3 bids, they came in significantly lower than the other 2 bidders. We suspect that's primarily due to their familiarity with the work. They are our contractor for the Swift Orange Line work. As a result, they have seen some of the retrofit work that we're planning to do as part of this effort. And some of the extension work is also similar to what we're doing on the Orange Line. And due to that familiarity, we assumed that they likely had to price in less uncertainty, or they priced in less uncertainty than the other two bidders. Obviously, we don't know anything and everything about how they bid or why they bid the way they did, but that's our expectation. That low bid price came in about 10 to 11% above our IGCE. That difference is primarily due to the cost they put in for traffic control. Their costs were quite a bit higher than ours, and that's where we see the differential in our IGCE from theirs. And we expect that's likely due to some of the traffic control costs that we've seen on the Orange Line have been a little bit higher than what they initially anticipated. So they're trying to correct for that. That said, it's certainly a well within the reasonable cost for what we had in our budget for this project. And as a result, we want to make sure that we can award this contract, and our recommendation, one moment, is for the board of directors to authorize the CEO to negotiate and award the Swift BRT station retrofits and Blue Line expansion for a not to exceed amount of $3,228,342. Thanks, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Jen?
Yeah, I guess when I look at this, and I'm not sure how much of it is totally, completely new technology,
Mhm.
but if we're upgrading what we have with the blue and green line, how often are we gonna have to do that? I mean,
So a lot of this is in part due to us updating the our standards for the Swift Orange Line. So we're bringing up our standard from the blue and green lines to meet that standard. That's including the ticket vending machines. So we have a consistent experience for our customers across the network. That's updating the signage to get backlit signage instead of externally lit signage that will just be more legible. We went through a fairly extensive process starting in 2019 to look at our existing stations and how we could improve them. That ultimately led into the Orange Line design. And in part, that also gave us a lens into what could we do reasonably with our existing stations to, at a much lower cost per station, figure out a way to improve them for our customers and provide a more holistic or comprehensive wayfinding system. And I think that's something I've harped on before the board, is the wayfinding system, and trying to make that a consistent experience all the way through. So this is a part of that effort to get to a singular piece or a singular place with the wayfinding program, and as well as the payment program, the fare program. So as far as how often we need to do it, I think it's something that you probably look at once every 10 years, something like that, to assess how technology evolved over time. It's not saying that you necessarily upgrade it at that moment, but you should be assessing to see how technology is improved. Is that something that there's a significant additional benefit for our customers that we want to leverage or not? I mean, it's something to continually monitor over time.
so just as an added question and I know we're upgrading the signals and making things better for the customers. So is that going to happen on all of our buses, not just the BRTs or the Swift Line?
So this project doesn't have anything to do with the buses themselves. This one is just for the stations that are being retrofit.
Well, okay, and I mean the stations,
Oh,
because we're adding even more things in the fall.
so this will be exclusive to the Swift stations, since which we, are a much larger level of investment than we have in our other local stops and whatnot. As part of the wayfinding program, we did consider next bus information, for instance, being able to get to some local stops. That's something that's it's not the focus at this time. We're focused primarily on getting the Swift stations all upgraded first. but there's an opportunity for us to look at local stops and how we can provide like an e-reader type sized sign to help provide additional information to people that aren't on Swift lines.
Okay, thank you.
I had a question.
Okay.
Yeah, Christopher, so this is really part public works, part technology upgrade and retrofit. Can you speak to me quickly just on what the transit signal priority upgrades? What would that involve exactly?
Yeah, so in City of Everett, we have some dated technology from the initial launch of the Blue Line that uses infrared to communicate to the signals. That's at end of life and needs to be replaced. And we're shifting to a GPS-based system that doesn't have to literally see the receiver in order to communicate information. So it allows us to be further away or behind turns to communicate with the signal without having that line of sight requirement, and which allows us to effectively get a better communication system going on between our buses and the upcoming signals. So that way we are more likely to get the to receive approval for the calls that we're making to those signals to get priority.
So we're not working on anybody else's hardware. This is kind of our hardware pretty much that we're
Technically, it's the City of Everett. So when we install this TSP hardware, we generally give it back over to the cities to maintain. In this case, because we're upgrading it to a new system, we're paying for that system to be installed on the City of Everett's signal poles, and then they'll maintain it during that for the duration afterward.
Thank you.
Other questions? I have a question. This would be the same technology consistent so that when the orange line goes in, all of our BRTs will be on the same technology.
Yep. So all the orange line's using the same GPS-based technology. So again, trying to maintain a standard level of service and types of equipment that we're using across our platform.
Okay. Thank you. As I look at the bids, and you did speak to the Cary Corporation leveraging some of their previous work with us, but a bid that's half the size of the others. Is there any more you can say on that, or is it just all leverage?
I'm sure they're kicking themselves a little bit because they could have priced in something higher and still won this bid. But frankly, I mean, that's I have to assume that it's based on having that level of recognition over what the actual costs are going to be for this, and not pricing in the uncertainty that comes with not knowing how much. There's a lot of owner furnished items on this project, and so if they don't know that pricing very well, then because of the scale of number of stations that are being touched by this project, over 60 stations, if you're off by a small order of magnitude, that becomes a big order of magnitude quickly across the overall network. So that's the best I can say as to how we ended up with this way.
Thank you. Anyone online have a question? Okay, seeing none, could I get a motion?
Yes, I move that the Board of Directors authorize the Chief Executive Officer to execute a contract with CA Cary Corporation for construction of the Swift BRT station retrofits and Blue Line expansion project for not to exceed amount of $3,228,342.
Second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Can I just give a special thanks to our project managers that have been working on this project and bringing it to this point? We have
Absolutely.
Todd Jacobs has been with us for quite a long time now. He's getting ready to retire in come May. So this is one of his last labors of love and working through the SWIFT program for us for a long time. He's been involved in all the SWIFT projects to this point. And he's transitioning that work over to Morgan McGrath, our other project manager, who is going to be taking on this work during the construction period. So really appreciate both their efforts in getting us to this point for this contract. So thanks.
If you keep working on these BRTs, you're never going to get any sleep.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, next action item is to approve resolution number 02-24, amend the community transit bylaws. And Mr. Hendricks?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. For consideration is amending the bylaws by passing resolution -02-24. One of the parts of the bylaws is outlines how our board is composed. And in January, we made a change to the board composition. So that's kind of the substantive change up front, memorializing the current board composition. The current version of the bylaws have been in effect since 2011, and staff has been maintaining kind of a housekeeping sort of list over time. And this is a good time to go through the whole bylaws. So if you look at the draft, there's some changes in grammar, some clarifications. In 2011, we didn't have all this whiz-bang technology, so we add a section about virtual meetings, hybrid meetings, and the requirements with the law in that. We also of substance noticed that we really didn't have much consideration of how alternates were defined and used within the organization, so we spelled out a specific section for board alternates. But other than that, the main substantive change is the change in the board composition. So with that, I'd be willing to answer any questions you might have on the new draft bylaws. Thank you.
Questions? Nope, seeing none. Any from the remotes? Seeing no questions, could I get a motion?
I'll move that the Board of Directors approve resolution 02-24, amending the community transit bylaws.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, could I get a vote?
Aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving forward to the chair's report. I promise there will be no mixed mangled metaphors in this one. First of all, I want to thank everyone for the opportunity to serve as chair this year. It's going to be an exciting year, a big year, lots going on. Lots of happening. It's a lots of happening year, and I'm quite excited to be a part of that as chair. So thank you very much. On Saturday, February 24th, I did have the opportunity to have a chat with Senator Leas, and also to say thank you very much for the support that he's given us in the Move On budget, and to get our 3 major projects approved at that time. So that was exciting, and also to extend him another invitation to be there for the Orange Line rollout, and he did confirm that he does plan on at all possible to be there. This year, our July board meeting falls on the 4th of July. Expect to hear from Rachel shortly as we look for an alternate date to hold the July board meeting. And the next regular meeting is scheduled for April 4th at 3 p.m. Let's see what else I have. I believe that is it. There is no executive session, so time for the board communications. And I will go down by alphabetical order. Councilmember Daughtry.
Yes, I would approve moving that because 4th of July is my 49th wedding anniversary, and I don't think I should be in a board meeting. So it's going to be bad enough that I'm downtown doing our 4th of July celebration, but.
Okay. Go ahead, Mayor Robert.
Yeah,
Yeah, Rick.
I've always thought it was odd that people get together on July 4th. It's Independence Day. You would think they would be independent, but they all get together and party, so.
They're all,
And
they're
it's a-
celebrating
It's
my,
a Thursday.
they're celebrating my wedding anniversary.
That's right. That's what's happening. So it's a 4 day. Is it gonna be like a long, long weekend? That's gonna be awesome.
I don't know.
It'll get sunny on the 6th, something like that.
We'll hear from Rachel on opportunities on what that's gonna look like. Mayor Frizell.
Kim, you could just bring your wife with you. I'm sure she'd really appreciate it.
No, she's not gonna figure.
All right. Yes, it's a busy year for Linwood, busy year for transport. Getting people from point A to point B and I'm really looking forward to it. So we've got some good times ahead. And just encourage everybody to be there on the 30th and then also go over to the college. They've got a fantastic bunch of activities, family fun activities from noon to 3. And it's gonna be a fun time. All the hard work that we've been putting in, we get to celebrate.
Councilmember Mead, comments?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Naring,
Nothing additional, thanks.
Rep Norton.
I do have a small thing. I wanted to apologize to anyone that was here at the meeting where I attempted to tell one of my favorite jokes, a union joke. The only problem I had with it when I saw those puzzled faces as I was leaving was that I neglected to include the critical paragraph in the middle of that. And all the way home, even my dog in the car said, "What's the matter? What's the matter?" I was in shock. So perhaps in the next attempt, I will be more diligent in following what the printed copies say. So thank you for your patience.
Mayor Roberts.
Well, Lance, that was pretty funny anyway, so I don't know if you need to do that again. Yeah, so in Stanwood, our police department and some of our other buildings are in the floodplain and we want to move it out. We've got land that we purchased in a short budget season in Washington, state of Washington this year. We went ahead and put in for $100,000, just, have not because you asked not. And by golly, they came through with $100,000 for us. So we're going to start that process there and we're excited about that. Appreciate our delegation stepping up in a short season and to do that. So a lot of things are happening in Stanwood and we're really working around flooding and trying to get our buildings that are vulnerable up out of the floodplain. So thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Schwetti.
I'm good.
You did not want to talk about the PSRC handout.
Oh, well. At your table is some notes I took at the PSRC meeting, the first of the month. The one thing that really stood out for me that I think needs to be on the front page of a paper, but the legislators changed the laws on zoning for transit-oriented developments, which is all where our bus rapid transit is, and the zoning changes increases to high capacity and multifamily. And that doesn't give the cities the choice to do that. So that's going to have a big impact on transit.
Okay. Going to the alternates, any comments from Mr. Gallagher? Councilmember Payne?
I'm looking forward to seeing people on the 30th up here in Edmonds, at Edmonds College. Actually, that's Linwood, but they didn't call it Linwood College. They called it Edmonds College.
Okay, thank you.
For a long time.
I took that up with the president this morning when I spoke with him.
Well, Linwood Honda is in Edmonds. They're consistent.
Okay, I think we can take the rest of the fight offline. Councilmember Fulcher. Hearing nothing, I think that concludes that. So we are at the end, and if no further business comes before us, we can adjourn. Thank you.
Thank you.